What's good, guys? So I've been using FlutterFlow for a while now, making all kinds of apps, showing you all kinds of functionality, and then someone contacted me and asked me to review AppMaster. And this is a tool I've never heard about before, but I decided to read up on it, take a look at it, take a look at how it works, take a look at the UI, and review it for you guys. And so in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing AppMaster, and we are going to see what kind of functionality it has, whether it's easy to use, and whether this is a tool that you may want to add to your arsenal. And so this is a homepage right here. It says no coding skills are required to create a unique app ecosystem using only AppMaster. Okay, so they have a lot of features here, real AI generated backend, source code included, only visual editing tools, developer partner program, web app builder, data models designer, business process editor, native mobile application builder, and stuff like that. So lots and lots of features. And here we have a comparison, AppMaster, a bunch of other tools, including Bubble and FlutterFlow and Adalo. And so it has a lot of features that also FlutterFlow has. And I think it has even more external service integrations, 55 versus 5 for FlutterFlow. So it looks like it has a lot of promise from now on. And so let's go ahead and log in. They have a free account. They have a free plan that you can use. I'm under the free plan, not paying anything. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. We can create a project here, and I'm going to say, well, project 2, and I'm going to say next. I'm going to do a... All right, so here we are in the dashboard. I'm using a free account. And we can create using a template. This is not available. This is not available. So all we can do is create a blank project. So let's call it project 1. Hit next. We're going to do the trial here, the free plan. Create a project. All right. So we just created the project. Let's go ahead and click on it. And right now we see a lot of stuff. And let me show you exactly what's happening here. Okay. It's currently building it. And so once it finishes, I'm going to explain to you everything that's happening. All right, so it says successfully validating deploy results, and it published it even. All right, so let's talk about what we're seeing. We have 25 endpoints, and these are basically API, REST API endpoints. We have no business processes. We can create them. I'll show you how to do that. We have 2 data models built in, and these are like user data models that you see also in FlutterFlow. We have 1 web application, which is the admin panel that has been created for us, and we have no mobile applications. On the right-hand side, we have a deploy plan. So we have 1 deploy plan, which is a development environment, and this is going to be our URL, project version, build date, stuff like that. And it looks like we can create multiple deploy plans as well, but one should suffice. On the left-hand side, we have various tabs, okay? And so this should be familiar to you if you've spent any kind of time with NoCode tools. We have modules, and so these are the modules you can use, like plugins, stuff like that. We have a backend here, okay, and this is where you're going to be designing your backend, right? The schemas and all that. We have business processes, and we'll talk about that in a second. We also have endpoints. Next, we have the web, and here you can create web applications of your shared business processes and backends and all that. So you can create multiple web apps. Here you can create mobile applications as well. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go into backend and let's create a very, very simple schema. So I'm going to right click and say create empty schema, and I'm just going to call it to do. Okay, to do's. We're going to auto-generate endpoints and admin UI elements. All right, so that's nice. We're going to hit save, and I'm going to add a field. So once you create it, all of these are like automatic fields. Okay, so ID is going to be auto-generated and auto-incremented. Created at, updated at, deleted at, all of those are basically automatic fields on each record. So I'm going to add a new field, and I'm just going to say name, and this is going to be a string. We're going to say string. You can do multiple values, so like an array. We're going to hit save. So very, very simple record. To do is just a name, okay? Next, we can go to business process. Actually, let's go ahead and save that. If you go into business processes, you can create a business process, okay? And basically, this is just logic, okay? You have things like global variables here. You can create a global variable. You can create a scheduler, so something that runs on a specific schedule, right? Which is nice, which is, I think this scheduler thing is, maybe it's the first time I'm seeing it in no-code tools, because typically no-code tools don't have that. I don't believe I've seen that before. At least I can't remember that I've seen that in any other tool. This is a really very useful feature. We have external API requests, okay? So you can create an API request that's going to be external, right? External to the app. We have endpoints, okay? And so this is important. As soon as we create the data schema, it auto-generated endpoints for us. So this is our to-dos endpoint here. So we can open it up and we have those endpoints here. And this is awesome, actually. This is really, really nice. I got to hand it to them because this is a great feature because this allows us to externally, access this data, right? This is API stuff, right? So, you can delete, you can get, you can patch, post, put, and get. So this is automatic, right? So I can come in here, I can kind of learn more about it. I can check the input variables, output variables, stuff like that. So this is actually really, really nice. Very cool feature. Next, we have the web, okay? And here you can create a web app. We have an admin panel, okay? So if we click on it, we can see our designer. And this is an admin panel for our data, essentially. This is like a built-in app where we can work with the data that we have. So it automatically created an admin interface for the to-dos schema that we just created. So this is nice. This is very nice. What you cannot do here is you cannot work with your data, okay? You cannot view the data here. You can only view the data once you run the app. So like in Bubble, FlutterFlow, if you're using Firebase, you can view the data. Here, you can't view it. You can only view it when you're running the app. So that's one thing to understand, which is very different kind of philosophy, if you will, very different technique as compared to the other apps. So like Adalo, you can view the data. Bubble, you can view data. You can't view it here. And so if you go, and this is our designer here, right? So, if you click here, you can see that this has a table and has a bunch of other things. Now, if you click on it and you go to workflow, you will see that there is no workflow. What this means is that this is just a button. It doesn't do anything. We need to do something. It's not finished yet, okay? We have this table, but if you click this button, you will go to data. It's linked to our data source, but there's no workflow. So that data is not loaded. We have to load the data. And this is something I learned after messing around with it. That data is not going to be there unless we load it. I'm going to show you how to load it. And so we have this nice admin screen, and you have a lot of inputs, date picker, time picker, input. It's so many different things that you can use. You can just drag and drop. And here we can add a new to-do, right? So this is a button, and there's no workflow. It doesn't do anything. We have an add to-do, and this is a dialog box, right? This is kind of what it looks like. This is what we're doing, right? We're building this thing, but there's no workflow for this either. So a lot of these things, like pretty much, it doesn't load any of the data. This is something you have to build. So even though, we have kind of this admin, unfortunately, it's kind of like halfway done. We still have to go out and we have to do it. And I'm going to show you how we can do it because, admin is a good way to check, what kind of data you can modify. Unfortunately, it's not finished yet, which was kind of weird to me, right? You would think like this would be all done, right? So we have the admin, okay? And this is one of the apps. This is only, we have one app. You can create another app, right? You can say new application, you can build another app. And when you do new application, you can go to admin panel and you can create an admin panel, or you can create a customer portal. So we already have an admin panel. We can create a customer portal, or there's a website option, but that's coming soon. That would have been really nice because personally, I don't want to create the customer portal. I want to do an externally facing website, but that is coming soon. And so, we have this admin panel. And basically, if you create a new app customer portal, it's going to work it's going to be similar to an admin panel. Next, let's go into mobile, right? So we can create mobile apps, create an application. And so it's telling us, we need another module required for the creation of mobile app. I'm going to say install now. We're going to create this module. And here we can decide what kind of app we want to create. Is it going to be multi-platform? Is it going to be Apple, iOS, or Android? So I'm just going to say multi-platform. And I'm just going to say mobile 1. We're going to say next. I'm going to say blank, custom, how about red, create. All right, it's going out and it's building it. And now we have the app. Okay, so we have a bunch of screens here. We also have components, layout elements, basic elements, form elements, widgets, shapes, all kinds of stuff that you should be probably familiar with if you've been using FlutterFlow or any of the other tools. All right, so we have this stuff. Let's go back to the backend because I need to show you some important things. I need to show you the endpoints, okay? So right now, we don't have any data. So this is the data we have, to-dos, right? This is our, where is it? This one, right? This is this right here, this to-dos, but we don't have any data. So how do you get data in there? Well, there are lots of ways of doing it. You can do it through the UI, which we are gonna do as well. But let me show you another way, right? So if you go into endpoint here, and you go into to-dos, you have REST API access, and so that is basically a way where we can connect and we can look at this: delete items, get items, patch items, post to-dos, right? Basically create to-dos right here. Put to-dos, that is putting a certain specific item, and patch is like adding a certain field, okay? And then get to-dos. To get started, you want to populate this with data. And now if you click on this kind of the gear icon, you will see it's expecting something like this. All we need to do is really send a name. That is kind of the main one. But it has a middleware, which is authentication is enabled. So we won't be able to send requests. We need to use authentication. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to disable it just to show you how it works. And now we can issue requests, okay? And so you can issue requests straight from this, right? So check this out. You can do publish into development, and you can build this project that you have here, and you can actually send requests from this app. But I'm going to be doing it another way, but still I want to show you how to do it. And so it's building version 1.0 here. All right, so it basically built this project here, right? This project that we have, and we can say preview, and I can preview this project API, which is what we built. And this is our project API. This is not the app. This is basically an API. And we can go to to-dos, and you can say get to-dos, and you can say try it out. This right here is called the Swagger screen. It's basically a web interface to REST APIs, and you're going to see this in other cases. It's not just limited to this. And so, for instance, you can pick a method, right? You can say, let's say we want to get to-dos. I can open it up, and I can say execute. And it's going to go in here, and this is the response, and there's count is 0 because we don't have any to-dos, okay? And so what we need to do is we need to basically add to-dos. Now, we can build a UI to do that, but for me, it's just easier to do it as a REST API. And so the way we're going to do it is we're going to go back to the app, and I want to quickly disable this token authentication. Just kind of disable it, just make it easy for us because this is going to be an internal app. It's not going to be exposed to the whole world, so that's not an issue. So we have to-dos here, and now I'm going to be using my trusty tool called PAW to do it. And so I can go back to the app, I can go back to project, and I have the server URL, right? So we can click on it, and that's going to open up our admin screen. But what we can also do is we can use this URL to basically work with the request, right? So if I take this host here and I replace it here, okay, I can get my to-dos. So if I execute it, there's no to-dos. But in this way, we can actually submit new to-dos. So I have this thing here, and what we need to do is we have the to-do. And so if we go to our schema right here, this is our database, we have the name, right? And the way you can do it is basically you need to send a request that looks something like this. This is a JSON request. And so now I'm going to set a new item. So I'm just going to say item 1. So I execute it. And so we just sent a request, and it basically has success is true. And now it's basically telling us we created. So if we go back to our initial, the get request, we should see a one to-do item that we created. Okay, so let me go ahead and create another one just to kind of fill it in. I'm going to say item 2. That's success. Item 3. All right. And then if we do a view request, we see we have 3 items. All right. So that is kind of I would say kind of a crude way of doing it, because we're essentially sending like bare requests, right? We're not like editing fields inside Firestore or anything like that. But this is just one way of doing it. So now we have 3 requests here, okay? And so now this thing has 3 requests. Unfortunately, like I said before, we cannot see it inside the app. We can only see it externally. And so let me show you a way that you can see it. So we can go back to web. And we can go to our admin panel. And so like I said, we can go to to-dos, and now we have this screen. But this screen is a table that's configured for the to-dos, but it's not loading the data. We need to load the data. So what we need to do is we can, click on the screen. We basically click on this gear icon, go to, look and feel data, and go to workflow. And then you need to create a workflow. And this is really the heart of AppMaster, is all of these kind of workflows. And they're very, very powerful, but you're going to be doing this a lot. And so I just clicked on the table. And so what I want to do is I want to pick unshow. These are the different events that the table emits. So like if you create a table, when you update data, you can do something. When the table loads, when the table hides, when the table is destroyed, on a row click, it's self-explanatory, right? So unshow, basically when the table loads. So what I want to do is I want to update the data from the table. And so what I want to do is I want to update the data in the table from our database, right? So I need to do 2 things. One, I need to load the data. I need to send a request inside here. And number 2 is I need to update the table with the newly loaded data, all right? So there are 2 things we need to do. So let's go and load this data first. If you type server, you're gonna see all these server requests. And what I'm looking for is this get request, but for to-dos. So if I type to-dos, even better. I have this get request. I'm gonna drag and drop it here. And this is a request that I need to issue in order to get the data, okay? So this is kind of what it does. This is the input, and this is the output. The output is data, okay? So, you have some input stuff. And what we need to do is we need to link it. That's all we really have to do. We don't have to submit. We don't have to do anything. We're not, filtering, limiting. We're not specifying an offset, nothing like that. We're simply getting all the data. And this is going to be the data here. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to go and find a table method, table workflow that's going to update the data. So if I type table in here, I have table update the data. We're going to drag it in here. And what we want to do is we want this to be the next step. We're going to link it, but we're also going to link the data. Okay. And then we're going to link the component ID, because what's happening here is we're updating, but this doesn't know which table it is. So we need to get the component ID from the initial table. Okay. So it's kind of like 2 things. We are getting the data, and then we're updating it here. Okay. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to rebuild the app, and then I'm going to relaunch the admin app, and hopefully all the data is going to be displayed there. All right, so it successfully finished everything. Let's go ahead and preview this app. We're going to preview the admin panel, and hopefully the data is going to show up. Okay. All right, so here's the admin screen, and so we have the home screen, and if we go into to-dos, we have the table populated with the data that we have. And so if I add a new item right here, I come back here, and let's say I want to post a new item, item 4, go ahead, reload it. Now we have 4 items here. And so this is something we needed to build. At least we needed to build the logic to get the data. Nothing works here, right? Basically, it's a kind of a skeletal structure for the admin. Everything else you kind of need to build out. And it's not hard to build out. It's fairly simple to build out, but all of this you need to build out if you want to have kind of an admin, okay? So now that we've built an admin screen with the data that we have, let's go ahead and build a very, very simple UI for a mobile app, okay? So we're going back here. We're going to go into mobile. We have our mobile app here, or the beginning of the app. And here we have the screens. Here we have the components. Here we have the different fields, the different attributes for each component. And all of this should be very, very similar if you've used any no-code tool. It's very, very similar to FlutterFlow. It's very, very similar to a lot of other tools. And so let's go ahead and go to this main screen here. And we have the body. Let's go ahead and find a list. So here we have a list. Let's go ahead and drag that there. And let's go ahead and find some kind of an item that we can drag and drop there. So like a list item or a card. So for instance, a card, we can simply drag and drop it. And now we have this kind of card design. And let's go ahead and power this up with some data, the data that we have. So how do you do it? Well, it's very similar to how we did it before, right? So here we have list 2. We're going to set it as a to-dos model, okay? So it's set as a model, but we still need to load the data. And in a lot of tools, this is done automatically. Here, it's you have to kind of do it yourself. So we're going to add a business process. And what we're going to do is when the list is on show, when the list is shown, what we want to do is we want to fetch those items, right? We're going to find our server request, this get right here. Okay, we're going to link the two, and we want to update the list, not the table now. We want to update the list. So if you go into widget actions, right, this is going to be part of widget actions. And in widget actions, you can update all the properties there. So for instance, if I type list, we can scroll down and we have list actions. So I want to update properties. Now there's lots of things that I can do just to give you an idea. We can get properties, append data, prepend data, update record by ID, lots and lots of interesting things. But we want to update the whole thing, right? Update properties. Drag and drop that right here. Come here, link the two. Okay, you always want to be linking the two, otherwise it's not going to work. And I'm saying this from experience. We have it linked the two. You want to link element ID so that we're updating the initial one, right? The initial that we're working with. And now you want to actually link data, right? So data is coming here, and now we have the data linked there, all right? So now it's pulling the data, or it should pull the data. So we're going to come in here, save the app, and now the data should be loaded when this list is loaded. Now, let's go ahead and display some kind of an item, right? So if I go into my body and I go into title, I can display a static value, or I can display a model field. And because we've set the list to use our to-dos, it understands the fields there, right? Because this is part of a data scheme. So I'm just going to say name. Put the name over there, okay? We're going to hit save. We're going to hit publish. We're going to wait for that to complete. All right, so it published. And now in order to preview this thing, if you click on it, you need to install an AppMaster app and log in using your account, and you're going to see this app right here. So I already did that. And so I'm going to go ahead and log in into my phone. We're going to open this app right here. And here we have this project right here. So I'm going to hit this project, load this up, and now we see this app. And as you can see, these are the items here. Item 1, 2, 3, 4. And so it's displaying 4 items because we load up the initial list right here, this list with this workflow, with this business process right here, right? We're loading it up and we're updating it with the data. And so that is the simple app I wanted to show you. Now, obviously, you can take this further. You have all kinds of events, right? So for instance, if you come back, let's say to the card, you have a workflow. You can add a business process and you can set something on the card level, right? So you can say on tap, somebody clicks on it, and you have all of these things there. So it's very powerful. There's so many things that you can do. It's lots and lots of things, but on the other hand, it's not as polished as some of the other tools. Like for instance, with FlutterFlow, it's just simple, right? You connect your list to your data and it automatically pulls the data. Here, I need to go out and do it myself. So it's very explicit. There's everything you kind of have to do yourself, right? Whereas in a lot of these other tools, it's kind of taken for granted. It kind of does it automatically. And so you can probably build a fairly complicated app using this tool, but I feel that this tool is maybe not exactly what I'm personally looking for. I mean, I definitely prefer stuff like Bubble or FlutterFlow a lot more, but it has a lot of promise. It has a lot of potential. There's so many things that you can do here. I really like this kind of this main screen here, this main dashboard, all of this deploy. It looks really, really cool, very kind of advanced, right? And also on the data model, you can have relationships. So it's all nicely modeled. You can view it. It's a very visual tool. You have things like, you have these external requests. You have a schedule. So lots and lots of stuff. But unfortunately, building the app is not as intuitive. It's not as straightforward as it is in some of these other tools. So they got a lot of features, a lot of functionality, but I definitely prefer like FlutterFlow to this tool, at least for now. Who knows, maybe in 6 months or a year or a couple of years, they're going to actually build something out that's going to make it easier. It definitely has potential, but right now I definitely prefer FlutterFlow, Bubble, those kinds of tools that we're all familiar with compared to this tool. And in any case, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this tool. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if there's something you liked, something that you didn't like. Let me know if you want me to review another tool. And if you're interested in getting more content, viewing, cloning, FlutterFlow apps that I've built before, getting access to some of the live streams that we did and we're going to do in the future, and you want to support this channel and say thanks, check out the Patreon page in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll talk to you real soon.